Previously on Morocco or Bust.
You okay? Hell! I'm not talking like a low side, I'm talking over the handlebars, full send. Full throttle, Craig! Oh.
My wrist.
What, badly?
Well, we'll see in the morning.
Quality, absolute quality. Morning, day 2. Absolutely stunning location. Hotel. Called Chez, I think it's called. It's essentially made out of clay and straw. You can probably see some of that here. And we've got a long day ahead of us in the saddle today, probably 6 hours, I think it is.
Let me rephrase that. It ended up being a whopping 13 hours in the saddle, getting lost in the desert, getting stuck in the desert, broken bones, and following some guy on his flip-flops through the night. But more of that later.
Here's the boys.
Hey, good morning. It's very lovely out here, isn't it?
So it was a hearty breakfast full of pancakes and honey. Then we said our goodbyes, got kitted up, ready for day 2. And I soon learned that there's always something interesting to look at in Morocco. Today was always going to be a big day. We would be leaving Agdz and would be straight into the desert sand. Due to the heavy rain of last week, it was always going to be really difficult to navigate. The aim was to get to Chez Naji camp in Chegaga for around about 3-4 PM, so 6-7 hours riding.
Do it again. Do it again.
Everybody was in really good spirits. The track was sandy but stony and way less taxing on the body than yesterday. We rode into what looked like a quarry, and there were plenty of dusty, sandy, twisty roads to have some fun on. Phil and I are always majorly competitive. Any chance to have a little bit of a race, we just can't resist. And then the inevitable happened. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Doing Craig?
Once we got into the heart of the quarry, it was a quick stop to top up our camelbacks. We couldn't hang around, we had lots of ground to cover today, so we were soon back on the track. And as the guys got more confident, I could see the pace was creeping up, and we were getting quicker and quicker. We then came across another dry riverbed, and again with all of the rain, all that was left were these big boulders. What happened next was the most heartbreaking moment of the whole trip.
Oh, my ribs. Do you mind picking the bike up? Oh, my ribs. Smashed my ribs up. Yeah, let's get this up. Oh.
It was a bad crash, but we thought Ollie may be able to ride it out. Turns out he'd actually broken 2 ribs and was in quite a lot of pain. He was able to carry on, but at a much reduced pace and only really on road sections. Anything off-road was just far too painful. The Land Cruiser and Ollie split off and they took the road all the way to lunch, with myself, Craig, John and Phil following Jack through more dry riverbeds. Watching Craig through this section though, crazy. The guy had been riding off-road for less than 2 days, absolutely smashing it. We eventually got out of those blasted rocks, into some nice sand, then onto tarmac and cruised in to a lunch stop, where we had some really nice street food, barbecue, outdoors, lovely little cafe organised by Wilderness Wheels.
So, we had a lovely stop for lunch. Everyone's so friendly here, it's unbelievable. Now we're off to the sand dunes. Bit of a trek to get there, but hopefully we all get there in one piece. Ollie's not going to bother because he's bust his ribs. And he's a
You didn't expect sympathy, did you?
Just going back now to fuel up. And I reckon it's going to be probably a 3-hour ride. We'd be ending in the sand dunes. Hopefully there's apparently a riverbed, but hopefully it's not flooded and we'll be able to cross. It's not so much the bikes, it's the support vehicle. They're a bit worried about it not being able to cross with us, and if we haven't got the support vehicle then we can't do it. And that's kind of the only way to the sand dunes. Here we are then. We are in the sand now, boys. Whoa! This is crazy. Just feels like the front end just feels insane. I cannot describe it. You just have to ignore it as best you can. It feels like it's just going to wash out any second. It's great fun though. It's not as hard on the arms and the hands in the sand. It's nice and smooth. So we've been doing these kind of washboard gravel trails now for quite some time. So it's quite nice when you hit patches of sand. It gives you a little time to have a breather. Oh, you can really give it some on this stuff. These 450s, they just rip when you give it to them. Yeah, awesome. So much fun. So much bloody fun. Feel a bit sorry for Ollie. I hope he gets out of the van and gets a chance to do that, because that was so much fun. Look at this. It's just like a little oasis in the middle of the bloody desert. We must be getting close to water here, I'm assuming, and this riverbed that they keep talking about.
After Sam had his big off on the first day, his wrist was too bad to carry on riding, so Jack took over as the main lead, but this was only his second tour, and I think navigating through this desert because of all of these floods was extremely hard for him, and he must have found it quite high pressure, not particularly knowing the way. Isham came along for the ride. He kind of joined us halfway through, so I think he must have jumped out of the van, jumped on Ollie's bike, caught us up. There was a lot of stop starting, just checking the route, making sure we were going the right way, making sure that the van could get through as well, because we didn't want to get that stuck at all. And as a result of that, things were taking way longer than I think anybody had anticipated. Then, to top it all off, Isham actually got stuck himself in what looked like sinking sand. It felt like we were in the middle of nowhere as well, so where this guy came from, who knows?
Now my bike's falling over. Chaos. Yep. Jesus. Whew. Now you owe me a beer.
We were having to navigate around patches of water all over the shop, and we came across this Land Rover who had gotten himself well and truly stuck. Sam, Ollie and Ben eventually came along and actually towed them out. We were really motoring now, and as you can see, our shadows were getting longer and longer, and on one particular section, unfortunately, Craig had a bit of a spill.
Craig got a big old head.
To add insult to injury, the desert was basically becoming part sea as well, with so much water surrounding us. It was really starting to look unlikely that we would ever make this camp and the sand dunes.
It's hurting bad. How are you? A lot? Yeah.
We're lost. Should I stick it on Waze?
Yeah.
What's happened now?
Knackered.
Where are we?
Middle of the fucking desert. 6 kilometres is where they're going, and we can sleep there if we want, or we can sleep here. Jack says there's no way of crossing, and because the problem is the sand track that we need is gone in the river. So just go straight into the dunes, which is fine for the bike, but the car will never make it. Right.
So as things stood, it looked like we were sleeping on the floor. Then, out of nowhere, the guy in the Land Rover that we had saved earlier on turns up. He says we can stay under his solar panel of his goat shack. All we've got to do is follow him 6k down the road. Now, I don't know about you, but the thought of sleeping on the floor under a solar panel in the middle of the desert. So it was needs must. We followed the guy in the Land Rover, the 6. Turned out to be more like 10k, all the way to his goat shack. Then some further negotiations started, all in Arabic. I think John Boy might have been involved in that somewhat. Then this guy turned up in his flip-flops on a moped, and he knew the way, so he said, all the way through the dunes in the pitch black to our base camp, which we all wanted to get to. I think he ended up getting paid about £80 to do this, but if you ask me, I would have paid him 4 times that if it meant we could get to our campsite. I basically stuck to his back wheel like glue. There was no way I was losing this dude, and he was an absolute legend. To ride that thing through the sand 2 up like he did in flip-flops, he's got skills, serious skills.
Three hours of motorcycling in the dark desert.
Oh yeah, 3 hours in the dark, yeah.
Dinner's ready apparently. That'd be nice.
Dinner's been ready for about 2 hours.
Dinner has probably been ready for 2 hours.
Only yesterday's dinner, isn't it? This is good, though.
Oh,
This is worth it, isn't it?
So as we all sat there, completely exhausted, after some food and a few beers, we were already reliving the day and telling tales. Were we glad we pushed on and pushed ourselves to the absolute limit? Well, this is what we woke up to. Make sure you tune into episode 3 and you'll get to see us completely out of our depth, full send on these sand dunes.